Scott Cameraman Wes.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So,
oh, gosh.
I'm glad we get to finally sit down and enjoy a cigar together. Been a long time now.
Yes, it has. Well over our usual month.
Right? Oh, man. Well, let's just start right off with Badass Beard Care. I'm still using it. I've enjoyed it ever since we got our product from them. Buying new product from them. It's the oil in the beard. I still don't use the balm yet.
Yeah.
I have not done the balm yet. I got to learn how to do that because I just haven't. I've never done any of that. But I love the oil and I love that Chuck's Hogwash.
Right.
That, the shampoo and the conditioner and stuff. Because my God, it just works so good. And the oil is not the sticky oil. It's a good oil that some of it I feel like it's super sticky and it's like, ugh, I just feel like I almost got Velcro.
You can't get it off your hands.
And it's on everything. You touch everything. It's all over everything. Especially with cell phones nowadays. You get that on your fingers and then you're swiping your phone and it's just like, it's not like the good old days when we had flip phones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh no, I love this stuff. I do use the balm every now and then. And it's not that hard.
The balm? Who told you to put on the balm? Did I tell you to put the balm on? Who told you to put the balm on? Well, Jackie Childs right there. That's a Seinfeld episode.
That is Seinfeld.
That is Seinfeld.
So yeah, you put the oil in, and then after you get that all in and brushed and everything, you put the balm on top of that. So it has the moisture. It kind of like locks in the moisturizing effect of the oil.
Huh.
But it keeps everything in place and nice. So like if it's windy outside or something like that, I mean if you're on the motorcycle, it's not going to withstand that.
Right.
But just being outside in the wind or anything, it just keeps it all in place, makes it look really nice.
It does. So we're very happy to have Badass Beard Care on here. If you're interested in it, just go to their Facebook page and you can find everything you want right there off their Facebook page.
Yep.
Veteran owned, American made, everything is right here in a good old US of A. So for me, that means a lot.
Yes.
And I know to a lot of other people out there, that still means something.
Right.
So, all right, well, I'm going to get started, Wes. Here we go. Today, I am smoking the CAO Brazilia. Brazilia. Ooh. Now, CAO makes a lot of good cigars.
Yes, they do.
Now, the Ape Hanger right back here, this is CAO. Mm-hmm. Their Flathead series, the Ape Hanger, which is called the Steel Horse.
Right.
I was so excited, bought a box of them. Worst cigars I've ever smoked in my entire life.
Well, except for the second third.
No, that's all you get.
That's what I mean. That's it. The first third?
You get that first. That's all you get is the first third. After that, forget it. The damn thing will not stay lit. It's just and it tastes pretty darn good. Now for me, you got to get about that far before you start really enjoying the flavor.
Right.
Well, those stupid cigars, by here, it's already going out. It's already starting to run. It's just the construction is horrible.
Huh.
And I wanted these to be my new cigar. I wanted to be giving these to people. Now I give them to people and go, this one's going to piss you off. It's horrible because it's such a good company. CAO makes such good cigars.
They do.
And they just dropped the damn ball on that one.
That's weird.
Or I bought a bad box. I don't know. Maybe they were firing somebody that was rolling those cigars and said, I'll show them.
Right.
And unfortunately, I'm the poor schmuck that got that box that the guy that was getting fired rolled. And so, they don't smoke worth of crap. You don't draw worth of crap. I smoked one last night. I was like, you know what? These have been sitting now. I've had these for months. So they've been sitting for months in my humidor. Nice and relaxed. Still, last night I was sitting and I was trying to smoke it. And dude, you take 2 puffs, it's out. You have to relight it. 2 puffs, it's out. Relight it, 2 puffs, it's out. And it was like, finally, I still had this much of a cigar left and I threw it in the damn fire pit. I was like, I'm done. Huh. It's horrible. However, this is the CAO Brazilia. And in this line, they are, just about all of them are a 90 plus rating. And even the Flathead, the original Flathead series is like a 92 rating or a 94, 96. It's way up there. But boy, when they went to the motorcycle side, He dropped the ball pretty
I
bad.
figure if you're riding on a motorcycle, you're not going to care how well the cigar is.
It ain't gonna stay lit anyway. Just, here, just roll it up, throw it in the box. Yeah. Well, the CAOs, they've got the Brazilia, but they also have the Americana. They have the Italian. They have, I think, a Nicaraguan. They have all these different ones. I've tried just about every one of them, and every one of them is fantastic. But I will say the Brazilia has become one of my absolute favorite go-to cigars right now.
Oh, yeah?
This is my new go-to. I just bought a box of these to put in the humidor. That's how much I like them. And this is one of those cigars where if you're going to buy it in a store, you're going to pay about $10 for it.
Right.
About a $10 cigar. Not a super expensive cigar. But one of the places had it on sale. And I could buy a box of them to where I'm only paying $5 a cigar.
Huh.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. And say,
Right.
you know, getting a $5 a cigar. This cigar right here will stand up to any $20, $25 cigar.
Oh, yeah?
It's that good. It is a Brazilian, it's called the Brazilia because it's all Nicaraguan now. It's a Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler, but the wrapper leaf is a Brazilian wrapper leaf. And there's something about the Brazilian wrapper leaf, and that's what this ape hanger, it has a Brazilian binder.
Yeah.
Apparently they don't make very good binder leaves, but they make a great wrapper leaf. Because the construction on these have been fantastic. The draw has been fantastic. This one here is a little bit more open draw.
Yeah. You did the V cut on that one, right?
I did do a V cut on it. The V cut, I think for tasting the flavors, the V cut works better for me. But this right here quickly became one of my go-tos. Now, the Magic Toast from Alec Bradley has always been, that one's been right there for me. I have pretty much any My Father cigar. Love the My Father line of stuff. But this CAO Brazilia, the Nicaraguan was really good, probably my second favorite. The American is probably my third. But yeah, this Brazilia, it's a darker wrap. Obviously, that Brazilian wrapper is a Maduro, and it's got more of a. It's not even really a chocolate. It's more of like a cocoa or a. It's more of a toasty. Like I think about like when I make toast.
Right.
Some people like to barely get the bread from still being white.
Yeah.
You know, I like mine toast, and then it kind of has that. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
It kind of has more of a toasted, but it still has enough of a sweetness on it that mixes really well with all the Nicaraguan. It has a tendency to be a little more spicy, a little more pepper notes, which you definitely get in these. It's a medium to. They say it's a full body. I would say medium to full.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other ones I have in the humidor that are going to be a lot stronger than this one.
Yeah.
But it definitely has some strength to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, CAO Brazilia. If you like a good toasty taste, like I said, the construction. Now this one will probably make me a liar, but so far every one I've smoked, they burn perfect. These are one of the few cigars I will be able to smoke this thing all the way down to a nub. It'll be hard for me to keep my fingers on it where it'll get too hot because it gets down to your fingers. I'll need a roach clip for this one. And I'm pairing it today with good old-fashioned root beer.
That's right.
Nothing else with it. No Eagle Rare. Nothing else. Just straight up. It's again one of those days where I got a lot of stuff I got to do afterwards.
Right.
So I figured, you know what? I'm going straight with root beer. It pairs really well with this cigar.
Nice. Well, I got, this is actually first smoke of this kind. And this is I did a Tatiana last time. So I kind of feel bad that I'm doing another Tatiana, but I was extremely sick last week. So I needed a nice mellow cigar.
Okay.
So this is the Tatiana Mocha.
Okay, so it's the Tatiana line.
Yes.
It's just, but it is a different blend.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So it's if you're buying it online, it's actually Mocha Caramel, but if you were just buying just a stick somewhere in a brick and mortar, you're not going to see caramel anywhere.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why it's labeled that way. But it is one that is different for Tatiana because normally they are all Dominican. And this is the Sumatra wrapper, but it has Nicaraguan binders and fillers instead of the Dominican fillers.
Huh.
So it's definitely a little different. Has a different taste than the normal Tatianas do. But again, it's the first time smoking this actual, flavor or whatever have you. Because I bought 5 different flavors just to try out some different ones.
Gotcha. And it's kind of like this.
Oh, you ashed
look
already.
at me making a mistake. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble.
This one is definitely... Oh, really? I had to make fun of you.
Did yours just fall off?
It did.
Mine did, mainly because I let it go out while I was yapping.
Yeah.
I was yapping my trapping.
But yeah, this one, I mean, it's full of flavor. Super mellow. I mean, it's as light as you could pretty much get for a cigar on body-wise. But it's got all kinds of flavor in it. And they're Tatiana, so they're infused.
Okay.
But yeah, if you like flavor, it's got all kinds of flavor. Chocolatey notes, some coffee in there.
And you can generally tell when somebody likes up an infused cigar.
Mm-hmm.
The aroma is very, very pleasant.
Yes.
Even people that don't like the smell of a cigar will absolutely love the smell of an infused cigar.
Yeah.
Well, you smoked the Groovy Blue
last time.
And that one is probably the strongest aroma off of any cigar I've ever smelled.
Yeah.
And not one time have I ever heard anybody go, "Oh, that stinks."
Right.
Everybody always walks out.
It tastes like berries.
Oh, that smells delicious. Did you just make a blueberry pie?
Right.
Because it really is. They are very flavorful. And that aroma definitely comes to life real quick. All right, well, let's just enjoy our cigars. Now, here we like to keep everything pretty light. We don't try not to get into too deep of stuff and everything else. So, I know you've had a hard time here with your health lately.
Yes.
And so I know you've struggled with that for the last couple of weeks. Well, for the last couple of months actually, for part of it, and then it got pretty bad. So let's just keep it light. So let me just ask you the first question. What do you think happens to us when we die?
Nice and lighthearted. I contemplated that a little bit last week.
It's something, man. When you start getting sick and you're getting sick worse than you're used to being sick, you do start wondering a little bit.
When you have a fever for 3 days and you start hallucinating or having... I couldn't open my eyes, so my eyes weren't open. So I don't know if you can hallucinate without your eyes being open.
Oh yeah.
But
that's what I was told.
The vivid dreams or visions or whatever. It was. Some of them were just terrifying, but it was just so much death. It was like I got to get out of this.
Yeah, well, the trick to that is just. It's okay to see the light, but don't go towards it.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Make sure you go the other direction for a while.
Yeah, that was... I feel amazing right now. Like, I could go walk a mile and with no problem.
Nice. And I think I put a perfect halo smoke ring right through your...
I saw...
right through your scene right there.
I saw that.
Yeah. So you are feeling better now, though?
Yes.
You got no lingering effects anymore that you're going to get me sick?
I got a little bit of a dry cough. After you get sickness like that, you tend to have kind of a dry cough for a few weeks or whatever. Mm-hmm. At least I do. I don't know if that's for everybody, but yeah.
And for the reference, we don't inhale these cigars.
No.
So that way somebody will be like, well, what the hell are you smoking for? If you got a dry cough, you don't want to miss from smoking. It's like, no, you don't inhale cigars. Premium cigars do not get inhaled. And if you are inhaling them, stop. You're not supposed to. So
That defeats the purpose of the cigar.
yes. And that's the hardest part for a person that smokes cigarettes
I
or
bet.
smokes weed or
Yeah.
whatever. If they're used to smoking that kind of stuff where you are inhaling,
Right.
You get a premium cigar and you're like, no, you don't inhale it. People in that
I don't know
mentality,
what
it's
to
like
do.
it's like that's a waste.
Right.
You have to inhale. That's the whole purpose of smoking. It's like, well, no, it isn't. When you're smoking a premium cigar, you're enjoying the flavor that's in the mouth.
Right.
When you breathe it out, there's got a little finish at the end. Some have a really long finish, some have a short finish. And to me, that's the one thing I'll say about this.
Yeah.
The Brazilia, well, all these CAOs in this line, I've noticed you do have the finishes, like after you blow it all out, the taste that's left in your mouth. Some cigars, that taste doesn't last very long.
No.
Other ones, it lasts a lot longer, but it has a really nice taste.
Yeah.
Then there's other ones that have that long finish,
Yes.
and it tastes like crap.
Yes.
And all you
For
can think
days.
about is like, yes, you can brush your teeth 10 times,
Right.
gargle with mouthwash
Yeah.
11 times, and
It
still,
doesn't come out.
yeah. And that, to me, that's the sign of a pretty bad cigar.
Yeah.
This is to me a good cigar where the finish does last. It lingers, but it's a good taste. Like I said, it's kind of a, I don't know, toast is the only thing I can really come up with. Is that toasty?
Toast.
And I like toast.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like toast? Haywood Banks wrote a song about it.
I love,
Yeah, toast.
I love toast with Nutella on it.
Do tell.
You know Nutella, chocolate hazelnut spread. Yeah, it's not healthy at all by any means.
Oh no, we don't promote health. on this
It's all sugar,
Yeah.
but it tastes really good.
We're smoking cigars and drinking root beers. What are you drinking?
Oh
anyway?
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I got me and my Dr. Peppers here.
There you go.
Dr. Pepper cream soda, no coconut, just the cream soda.
Just cream soda.
I do have plenty
Dr. Pepper
of
cream soda.
Yeah, I do have plenty of the coconut cream Dr. Pepper at my house still.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because Dr. Pepper happens to be my drink of choice usually, and they have 23 flavors. So what I do, because here at the Steelhorse Summer Cafe, they have blackberry trellis.
Yeah.
So I like to go over there while I'm drinking my Dr.
Add
Pepper.
some more flavor to
Oh yeah,
it.
just pop some blackberries off of there and eat them, and I'm like, there's 24 flavors now. And then I'll reach down and grab a raspberry off the raspberry bushes. 25. So yeah, those are the things that make me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pretty simple person.
Strange noise outside.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. It didn't sound like a bunch of motorcycles. It sounded more like a bunch of Tasmanian devils or something
Right.
running through there. All right, so what do you got planned? Here we are. We're in August now.
I know.
Have you had
crazy.
a chance to look at the podcast that's going to be airing at the end of this month?
I have.
Have you?
Yes.
How'd that come out?
It's not finished yet. But
But I mean, how did
it came out good.
the material and all was?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was really nice.
It was so much fun being in Frankfort, Kentucky,
I wish I could have been there.
at that Muskett's music station. I keep calling it a music store. It's a music station. Muskett's music station. Musket was the name of the dog. So it's
Really?
the dog shop.
That's funny.
So that's why it's Muskett's music station. And they had all the vinyl records, but they also had guitars for sale and that kind of stuff. So you had instruments, you had tons of vinyl, and I mean good vinyl. And I spent a lot of money on some.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot. They had great prices, so therefore I bought a lot more than I normally would have bought.
Yeah.
So we did pick up a lot of the vinyl while we were there. But they also
Sweet.
have a little recording studio in the same store. People nice as can be, super cool. Frankfurt. If anybody wants to go to a cool free concert series,
Yeah.
a lot of towns do them. You know,
yeah.
Caramely does them. I mean, Martinsville, Indiana, they have their own stage now, outdoor stage. They do their own summer concert series.
Right.
Frankfurt is, you know, it's the capital of Kentucky, so it's a decent sized community. And I'm talking thousands of people are out there for this.
Nice.
And all the restaurants right there on the squares, you know, because it's not a square, it's squares, you know, because it's a bigger town.
Yeah.
But you have all these streets that come down, they block it all off, so it's just pedestrians.
Nice.
And all the restaurants bring their tables out into the street. And, I mean, dude, we didn't leave. By the time we got done with that podcast, because that was after the show, after the concert, all that stuff.
Right.
With Anthony Rosano and the Conquerors.
Mm.
You know, they signed autographs afterwards. They took pictures. They were selling merchandise. So it was after all that. So by the time we were done, it was well after midnight.
Jeez.
There were still people. I mean, the shop was still open for business at midnight, and everything was just starting to shut down at midnight. And it was like, huh, this is fantastic. And to see all those people out there, just a great time. But it was so much fun talking with Anthony Rosano and the guys, Luke and Jake. Just had so much fun talking with them. The fact that they all ride motorcycles.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was just super cool to be able to talk to them and to be able to do something like Steel Horse Hunter and beyond. To be able to talk more than just the motorcycles, but their music and how does it inspire them and stuff like that. So it was just really, really fun.
That's cool.
And that's going to come out at the end of this month, right?
Yep.
Well, I was hoping everything came out good on it, because again, after I do it, you get it. I don't do anything to that. Cameraman Wes is the one that does all the editing and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that at the end of this month, and then who knows what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'd like to talk to more musicians, that's for sure.
Right. I'd love to get Bubba Blackwell on here.
I think that'll be my next travel.
Yeah.
Like we travel down to Frankfort, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about traveling down south again to meet up with Bubba and be able to do a podcast with him. I like to be able to go right to his house and do it right there at his house, so that way, you know, we can sit and talk, and I don't mind traveling down to where he's at.
Right.
So that's one that we're definitely going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely going to do that.
Definitely.
Well, you know, we got Tab and Juan's going to be in town.
That up too.
Tab and Juan's going to be in town in October. He's playing at the Vogue. So I'm trying to get that set up through his manager, that we can do a podcast with him there.
Yeah.
So, and Tab rides as well. He's
Right.
I think he's got a 2014 Ultra Classic that he rides. Obviously, Bubba Blackwell rides.
Mm-hmm.
But now has a whole new career. He's retired from jumping the Harleys. He's retired from the stunt shows and has a whole different career now and is happy as can be.
Right.
I mean, probably happier than I saw him the last 15 years he was doing the Harley thing. So yeah, those are my goals. Those are some of the people I really want to.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny DeVoe, who's a local legend here in Indiana.
Right.
Love to be able to talk to her on the podcast. You know, some I can smoke cigars with, some I can't, and that's okay. What about you? What are you wanting to see?
Pretty much the same thing. I know at some point we got to get with Rupert. He said he was going to do the podcast. So we got to get him on here.
I forgot about that. We may do him in October.
Yeah. Before his tennies.
He's got his, tuxes and tennies.
Yeah.
And I think that is in November.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you said that. I need to schedule with Rupert to get him in here in the next month or so we can get that. I don't like waiting until the last minute.
Right.
You know, like I said, it was fortunate we could go down there to Frankfurt, so we already got that podcast ready to go, and you know what I mean? I like to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Makes life a lot easier.
It does. Then people get sick and we go, are you kidding me?
Cindy's gonna kill you. She is gonna be like, what kind of pigs did you let in this place?
Normally Tatiana's, you can get a really good ash on them. I don't know what's going on with this one.
That was a pretty good looking ash. Yeah, mine, I let it go out, so then when I relit it, I'd only lit the one side of it. And once they get, here's a little tip. Anybody that smokes cigars, if you're just getting into this, you want to keep that thing burning nice and even. Now, if you saw me earlier, when it went out, I relit the side, and only part of this lit. The other part did not, and so and then you just take your lighter and you just kind of go around it and you just even it up. The way cigars are made, if they're not burning even, you're not getting the proper flavor.
Right.
Once it gets uneven, you're no longer getting the profile they made that cigar for. So just don't be afraid to take the lighter to it, even it up, touch it up is what I call it. Just touch it up a little bit. But yeah, you see ever since I did that, it's been working absolutely just fine.
Yeah. Still tasting good?
This is what I call the sweet spot of a cigar. I'm down into it now. I'm just about at the end of the first third. I like to think of cigars in thirds. You get the first third, second third, third third. And usually you're saying third if you're drinking whiskey with it.
Yeah.
But this right here is the sweet spot. This is the part of the cigar I absolutely love. From here down to the label is my absolute favorite part of the cigar. A lot of times, by the time I get down to the label, I mean, you can peel you watch me. I'll take that off of there.
Yeah.
But generally, from that point on, it starts getting kind of hot. They get kind of, you know what I mean? They get a little funky. And so a lot of times, that's about as far as I'll smoke one. Like I said, these happen to be one that I can actually smoke down to where I just can't hold it anymore. And I will say, it's pairing very well with the root beer. Do you know what I like the best? Remember I was joking about how they have their fresh blackberries here?
Yeah.
Dear Lord, when I'm smoking one of these cigars, if I have one of these Brazilias out, I will go over to their... Can't now because the season's done.
Right.
So there are no more blackberries left out there. But that's what I would do. I'd light one of these up and I'd go over there and I would take 2 or 3 blackberries off of there, pull them off the vine.
Yeah.
Pop one of those in there. It blends so well with this cigar. It's like that's one of the best pairings I've ever had. And so I guess I could make a blackberry juice and it would go great.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I went with the root beer. I thought that's probably going to be about the closest thing I could think of to come to.
Right.
But yes, fresh blackberries.
Huh.
And I don't normally think of food with the cigar while you're smoking, but it really was. Because they're just they're so big and they're so juicy when you pop it in your mouth, and it's just like wow, with the flavor of that cigar. And then you take a draw off the cigar, and it's just like really good, really fantastic.
Never would have thought of that.
It's beyond good.
It's beyond.
It's gooder.
Gooder.
It's gooder than good. So you liking that one?
I am.
You said it's the first time you've ever had this particular one, and what's it called again?
The Mocha, Tatiana Mocha Caramel, but I don't taste any caramel.
No?
No. Definitely got, I taste the chocolate and the coffee, the mocha flavor in it. Kind of like you were saying, it lingers after you blow out the smoke. That chocolate and mocha flavor kind of lingers in the mouth.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I consider a good finish. I like, I don't mind when that lingers. You know what I mean? That's a good.
Right.
But boy, some of the cheaper ones that I smoke, it's like,
yeah.
Lord, you got to go out and eat a basket of rocks or something.
Yeah, Tatiana's, if you pick them up at a brick and mortar, they're usually about, 10 to 12? No, they're right around $10.
They're not super cheap.
No.
Not super expensive. They don't
Right.
break the bank either, but they're not. Definitely not a cheap cigar.
No. I mean, if you buy a box of them, you're getting, I think it's, I don't know if it's 24 or if it's 30 in a box. But they all run basically online. If you're going to Thompson's or something like that, Cigars International, they all run right at like $94 for a box. And I was thinking it
that's
was
not
like,
bad.
I thought there was 30 in a box. I haven't bought them for a while,
Yeah, it's
so I don't
fantastic if there's that many.
remember. Yeah. These ones, for some reason, were different. So these ones were like $104, and I'm assuming that's the Nicaraguan binders and fillers must be a little more expensive.
Could be.
So
Well, since they're based out of
Dominican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that may have a reason. That might be the reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. You can buy. If you buy quantity, you get a better price.
Right.
That's just the way it works. For me, it's hard because it's like, do I really want to invest in 20 of the same cigar?
Right.
You know, we've talked about it all the time. We like to
Yeah.
buy the 5-packs, man. And if you can break that down, you buy enough of those where you're getting them, you know, for $25 a 5-pack.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then you're only paying $5 a stick.
Yeah.
And to me, I consider that really, really cheap.
Yes.
Most of my cigars are $10 a stick cigars.
Right. So if you're getting them half off.
Tend to, I would say probably in between 10 and 20. And I generally stick around that 12, 13, you know. Now, I know I've smoked the Ashton Aged Maduro.
Yeah.
It's about a $17 cigar at a brick and mortar. And it's a little more expensive than what I would generally buy. And those are Dominican Puros.
Right.
But I love them. Even though I generally have a tendency to lean more towards Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Those Dominicans are fantastic.
I wonder what seed they use.
I don't know. And I know a lot of it has to do with the aging process too. And those
Yeah.
are, I mean, that's in the name, the
Right.
Ashton Aged Maduro. So I don't know how long, whether that's a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year, I don't know how long that one's aged. Obviously, anything that ages for a long time, you're going to pay a lot more money for them because they're sitting on them for years before they sell them. So what I have a tendency to do, like I said, now I bought a box of these because I found them, again, like $110 for a box of 20, which was dirt cheap for these.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to go to the place I go to in my town, and I'm going to pay $10 a stick, well, if I can buy that box, I'm paying $5 a stick.
Right.
You know, as opposed to like the Magic Toast I was talking about, Alec Bradley's. I love those cigars. I'm going to pay $12 for one of those in a brick and mortar. And if I buy a box of them, I'm going to spend about $230, $240. So I was like, okay, so it's the same price.
Right.
So for me, if I'm not getting a discount by quantity,
Yeah.
no need in buying quantity. I'll just
No.
go and pick a couple of those up each week. I sit them in my humidor. I like them to sit in my humidor for several weeks,
Right.
so they can rest and all that. And then eventually, if I just keep buying a few a week, because I don't smoke the same cigars all the time,
Yeah.
and even if they're my favorite, I know people say, well, if that's your favorite cigar, why aren't you smoking it all the time? Like, because it won't be my favorite after a while.
Right.
After a while, it'll just be my go-to cigar, and then I got to find a new favorite, which, what do they call it, chasing the dragon?
Yeah.
So I still do that.
Definitely in cigars.
I do that on an occasion, but to me, if I have a cigar that I absolutely love, I don't want to overindulge in it. Perfect example. How many times has an album come out that sounded fantastic, and then they take 3 or 4 songs off that album and they play them over and over
Right.
and over on the radio? And I realize I'm dating myself now because nobody listens to the radio anymore. But for me, it's like, for me, it would be like Pink Floyd's The Wall. When The Wall came out, I was a huge Pink Floyd fan. Absolutely loved Dark Side of the Moon. Loved Wish You Were Here. Loved Pink Floyd Animals. And they came out with The Wall, and it was a little too depressing for me at first. But then it was like, dear Lord, if I hear Comfortably Numb one more time. I mean, you would hear that song 10
Oh,
times
yeah.
a day. 10 times a day. If you listened to that album, you would have, or radio, you would be hearing it 10 times a day, even that many years after the album came
Right.
out. And it just, I hated that album. Absolutely hated it. It's like, that's horrible, man. That was there was good music on there that I can't stand just
Right.
because they played it over and over and over.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am with the cigar. If I find one I really like, I don't want to smoke it over and over because I don't want to over smoke it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then after a while, it's like, okay, yeah, it's just a... And that's why I hesitated buying the box of these. But it was half price. It's hard for me to... I'm a cheapskate.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to pass up on that.
That's a hard deal to pass up.
What's your go-to cigar?
My go-to cigar would have to be either the Tobacco Special. I think that's the Cafe Coretto one. Which I'd love to try.
That's the one I was thinking. When I think of you, that's the first
Yes.
cigar that I think about.
I mean, by far, I mean, for the blend and the taste, everything, I mean, it's my favorite. The Girl with No Name by, you would think
Drew Estates?
Drew Estates. I was looking up,
Deadwood, right?
yeah.
I mean,
It's by Drew Estates, but it's through Deadwood.
Yeah, the Deadwood.
They're, I forget, I think it's the line itself has its own name.
Yeah, I was thinking that
All
was
the women.
I thought, yeah, and I thought that was the Deadwood collection from
Yes.
Drew Estates, and it was like,
He had Leather Rose, Girl with No Name,
they're a fat bottom.
Crazy Alice, Fat Bottom Betty, and then
Yeah.
there's one more. I think there's 5 of them now.
Okay.
But yeah, the Girl with No Name, it's a stronger, like the tobacco's, and again, that's a that's a Drew Estates as well. Tobacco's, but the Girl with No Name is stronger, so it's a more bolder cigar than the tobacco.
Okay.
But again, it's just the flavor profile all the way through is just so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got way too many of them.
Right.
Because I bought a box and I didn't realize there was like, I want to say like 35 in the box. And it was a really good deal because I got them for half off. So the box itself was, I think, $100. And it's supposed to be $250 or something like that.
All right.
Because it was half off for the box, plus I had a discount code.
Nice.
So it was like, I gotta buy them, but it's like, that's a lot of cigars.
You know, the wonderful thing about cigars is that the longer they sit in the humidor, the better they get anyway.
Right.
You know, now if you're going to go and you're spending the money, you know, if you're going and buying a Padron 64, you know, it's already been aged for
Right.
5 years. You know what I mean? Now, if you go get the Padron, the 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000,
Yes.
that series,
Right.
it's the same exact cigar. It just hasn't been aged for 5 years.
Right.
Or for 3 years, or for 7 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So you could buy that cigar, buy a box of those, put them in your humidor, and I think I've said this before on here.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it sit for 3 years. Boom! Now you got the expensive.
Right.
It's just a matter of if you have enough room to be able to sit.
And if you have enough will to not smoke
To not
it.
smoke them. It's hard for me to do all the time.
Yeah. But if you want to save money,
That's the way to do it.
that's the way to do it.
I had somebody comment because I watch Cigars Daily.
Uh-huh.
They do a Monday Night Live just like we do with Steel Horse Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
They're a lot more sophisticated. They've got a lot more money. They've been at it a lot longer than we have, so they do a much better job. And I don't have a problems admitting that.
Yeah.
But what were we saying?
That you watch Cigars Daily.
Cigars Daily.
Was it a comment? Because you posted something on Facebook on Cigars Daily, and you had a couple comments
Yes,
on it.
that's what I was going to talk about. Thank you. That's why you keep younger people on staff, okay? Because when you get old and senile like I am, you gotta have somebody that can reel you back in and get you back on track. But yes, I had made a comment. Somebody had posted a picture of a Mark Twain and said something about, I just bought this cigar. Anybody else ever had one of these? And I was like, that's my go-to.
Right.
Now again, what I was just talking about. These are one of my absolute favorites. There's some other ones that are my absolute favorites.
Right.
I don't smoke them all the time. The Mark Twain, you buy a box of those online, you can generally get them for about $3 a stick.
Yeah.
That to me is a go-to. That is
Yes.
an everyday, or I should say not a go-to, but an everyday cigar.
Right.
That is, if I'm looking and nothing really jumps out at me when I'm looking through my cigar collection, I go with one of those. But I made the comment. I said, yeah. I said, oh, they're fantastic. I always have a box of them in my humidor. I was like, and I said, they're even better if you can let them sit for 6 months. Somebody chimed in, why would you waste the space in a humidor? Just curious. And they weren't even...
Yeah, they didn't mean it condescending or anything like that.
They didn't mean it at all. They were literally wanting to know, but why would you want to take up that much room in a humidor for 20 cigars and let them sit for 6 months before you'd even smoke them?
Yeah.
Unless you have a big walk-in humidor, why would you take up that much space? Now, for me, I don't have a big walk-in humidor.
I'd like to. That'd be awesome.
But at my house, I have a 300 count humidor. And here at the lounge, we have, I think it's 150 count humidor. So I have the room for it. And that's what I explained to that person. It's like, hey, listen, I don't smoke the same cigar every day. I smoke a different cigar pretty much, and I don't even smoke a cigar every day.
Right.
But when I do smoke one, I generally change it up all the time. And so for me, it's just basically, if I buy a box, those Mark Twains that I bought, just the last box, say, it was probably a month ago. I probably still have 17 left. You know what I mean? I probably only smoked 3 of them since then. And so therefore, it's like, what I explained to them is, no, I'm just saying by the time I'm finishing that box, it will take me about 6 months to smoke all those cigars. And I've noticed that the last ones I smoke are
much
a
better.
lot better than the first ones I smoke. And again, not that the first ones are bad. It's just, again, those are good. These are gooder.
Right.
You know, let it sit for 6 months. It's better. And yeah, if you don't have the room for it, then you don't want to do that.
Right.
But if you've got the extra room, I can just throw the whole box up there on my top shelf. I've got the room for it, so that's what I do. And to me, that's what I love about cigars. I have this right here. This is the Guy Fieri.
It's a good looking cigar.
That's his brand out there. Yeah, this is box pressed. This is the knuckle sandwich. This is the Maduro. It's a nice box pressed cigar. And I've been sitting on that one now for a good 3 months.
Yeah.
At least 3. I got that at Gillespie's.
It was a while back.
Time ago
Yeah.
at Gillespie's. Not like the last few times I've been there, but way before then. And I smoked the Connecticut, and I've been holding on to that one just because I've been waiting for that good steak dinner that I was going to smoke that after a good, because that's what that one's for, man.
Right.
After a good meal, you light that bad boy up right there. And I haven't had a good meal in months, so therefore I haven't been able to light it up.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah, it's been a very well. Like I said, I was asking, where do you go? You know, that is kind of a weird thing. You know, when you're watching somebody that's elderly, and you're watching them as they're fading, and to be there with them for their last few moments and this and that, and it is. You do wonder why somebody holds on. Somebody that should have passed a long time ago, but yet, for whatever reason, they kept hanging on. And this was the conversation I had with somebody today, because we just went through this today. And I was like, I often wonder, are these people still getting things right with the Lord? You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't get preachy on here. I am a Christian minister. I do believe in the Bible, and I do believe that is my guidebook through life. And I started wondering, all right, so are they still hanging on because they're still getting things right with God before they go on to meet Him?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It is kind of one of those things you do have to think about.
Yeah.
You know, because it's one of those things that nobody really knows. I mean, until you die.
Right.
Right? Stuart Huff, comedian Stuart Huff, stand-up comedian Stuart Huff. Man, one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my entire life. One of the coolest guys I've ever met in my entire life. And one of the most generous guys I've ever met in my entire life. Dude drove 10 hours to do a show that I was hosting. Simply because I'd asked him several years. Drove 10 hours, got there an hour before showtime. He was the, you know, he was the act, you know.
Yeah.
He was the headliner. Went up there, did an hour-long set. Got back to it, gave him a ride back to his car, and he drove 10 hours to go back home because he had something planned the next day already. Wow. So he drove all night long so he'd be home in time to take his son fishing the next day.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, I had no idea you moved down to Athens, Georgia. Why didn't you tell me that? He goes, dude, I've been down there a while now. I said, hell, I thought you were still in Kentucky. So I never would have asked you. I said, if I knew you were that far, I never would have asked you to do this. He goes, I know. I didn't want to tell you that, though. That's how cool that dude is.
Wow.
But he talks about that a lot, too, where he's like, you know, listen, we know what we believe.
Right.
But how many of us actually know?
Mm-hmm.
None of us. You don't know until you've passed, you know? We all have our belief.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we won't get on. We won't get into anything heavy today at all, Wes. We're going to keep it nice and light.
How about them cloud trails?
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness that we don't have chemtrails, because Lord have mercy.
Cloud trails.
Yeah, they're cloud trails.
They're cloud trails.
Yeah. Yeah, thank goodness, because if those were chemtrails, I'd probably be a mess right now. As many of them that were hovering right over my house yesterday. Dear Lord. Oh my God, I sent a picture of it to you, and your response, and then I sent a picture of it to mutual friend of ours, Heather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same exact response you had. I started laughing. I said, yeah. That's exactly what Cameraman Wes said. So,
guess you need to cover that garden out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Fresh produce. I don't know. Watch. Yeah. So, yeah. So I like that guy Fiat cigar. Yeah, that's a wonderful cigar.
Yeah.
That's the Ashton Aged Maduro. I did a review on that on this already. Mm-hmm. This is it's one of the My Father brand right here. It's the Antilles Salalali Yakapakatukututu.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So it's the one with the naked lady on there. You can see one boob. So it was worth buying for me just for that. Absolutely one of my favorites. Love the My Father brand.
Yeah.
Love the Judge. Love the... they have one, it just says Garcia because the My Father is Garcia Pepin, and then there's the son. So they have one it just says Garcia on the ring, the label.
Right.
Only one I've ever smoked where I was like, I don't really care for that one. All the other ones from the My Fathers, absolutely love them.
Yeah.
Love them. And then there's a good old fashioned Fuente down here. Anybody that smoked cigars back in the day, you smoked Fuentes. That was
right
before the big boom in the 1990s, where all of a sudden we got all these new great places, like you got a Rocky Patel right there. Ashton came along, Drew Estates came along. All those came, like My Father, the Garcias. I mean, they came from Cuba,
right?
But again, the My Father brand, their own factory came in the 90s and all that. So I mean. The Fuente, they've been around for 200 years, right? 250 years, whatever it is. So if you grew up and old like me, remember we all started smoking when we were 12 back in our day.
Getting smoking permits.
Smoking permits for high school. That's right. 13, yeah, I got permission to smoke. All right, have your parents sign that little piece of paper. Okie dokie, there it is. All right, you got to stay over in this area if you're going to smoke a cigarette when you're at school. Yeah, that was the good old days.
Good old days.
But yeah, the Fuente, I mean, it's the Fuente is the Fuente.
Right.
It's proven, they've stood the test of time. They've been around for 200, 300 years. I mean,
It's crazy.
but
I mean, for me, a lot of the old world ones are a little harder for me to smoke, and I think it's just because I like a lot of flavor, and maybe my taste buds don't work good, so I need infused and bolder flavors. But and maybe you grow out of that as you smoke more.
it's very possible. I do know a lot of people do. Now, there's another brand out there. It's like a flavored cigar, but they actually use like pipe tobacco.
I had
And again,
one of my Thompson's brand has pipe tobacco mixed into it.
which also gives a much more pleasant
Yes.
aroma in the air.
Yeah.
It's like I was talking about that cigar right there, you know, or the Tatiana, the Ruby Blue.
Groovy blue.
You know immediately.
Yeah.
You know, if
You know
light one of
somebody's
those up,
smoking
if
one.
you're in a cigar lounge or somebody lights
Yeah.
one up, you know immediately.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. But there's another one out there I know that has that pipe tobacco in there as well, and so it's not necessarily an infused cigar, but it has that blend of the pipe
Right.
tobacco with it. So therefore, you're getting more of that aroma in the air kind of smell, and I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to smoke a pipe.
I need to smoke mine more because I don't want to do it on camera because it's very awkward for me. since
And
I'm
weed's
still
not legal
learning.
in Indiana, so we can't.
Right. I've only smoked it a few times, not weed,
Right.
but my tobacco pipe.
Yeah. No, we just smoke all the time.
Yes, with my DOT restricted job.
Yeah, right. Isn't it wonderful to be able to pass a drug test?
Yes.
Isn't it great
Yes.
knowing that, hey, we're calling you in? Dude, when I worked at the sawmill, I was one of the few people that had a CDL and drove the truck. They send me twice a year. Because I was the only one that could pass the damn drug test. I was like, hey, do you mind going down there? I was like, I could care less. Let me ride the motorcycle, shoot you, I'll go down there. It's a nice ride. Let me do it after lunch. That way when I'm done there, I can ride back roads back to my house and enjoy the ride. So just don't send me down in the middle of winter, man. Make sure it's nice riding weather. So once in the spring and once in the fall, I'd go down there and do the drug test because I never, ever had to worry about not being able to pass the drug test. And there's a lot to say about that. That's really nice.
Right. I mean, now from what I've heard from people, about 80% of these places don't even test for pot anymore. Even in Indiana, even though it's illegal, because we're surrounded by states that are legal, they don't even test for it now. And because they can't get anybody to work. So at this point, they're like, if that's all you're doing and that's all that's going to pop on the test, you're good.
Yeah, and I just never was. I never was a weed smoker. I just never was. I'm not saying I never smoked it. I'm just simply saying that was not my drug of choice by any means. I had a few back in the day, but it definitely wasn't pot. But I just never did. And I do remember when I finally got my life straightened up, and I got off of everything. I mean, I didn't even drink alcohol for 20 years. I stopped all the other stuff. I never had an issue with alcohol, but it was just one of those things. It was like, you know what? If I'm getting rid of the cocaine, getting rid of the mushrooms, getting rid of the LSD, you know what? I don't even want to drink alcohol either. And but I remember the first time I ever got pulled over, and I wasn't afraid. I wasn't worried. I was like, this is the greatest feeling in the world. I'm like, want to search the car? Like, no. Do I need to? No, but I'd like for you to, because there's nothing in here.
For once.
And I remember telling the cop, I was like, dude, this is the first time I've ever been pulled over since I got my life straightened up.
Yeah.
He's like, when'd you get your life straightened up? I said, it's been about a year and a half ago. He's like, well, good for you. He was all happy. We had a great time.
Nice.
And I still got a ticket.
Right.
You know, he was still nice about it. But yeah, I remember what it was like the first time getting pulled over and not having to worry.
Yeah.
Not having anything in my system. Not having, because I had swerved. I actually swerved over the line because I dropped something on the floor and I picked it up. Had people in the car and it was like, good thing there wasn't a cop around. They'd think I was drunk. And sure enough, right after that, lights came on. And yeah, I got to have that whole conversation with the cop, the officer.
Nice.
And actually, he did not give me a ticket. I've had tickets since then.
Yeah.
But that particular moment, he did not. It was just a swerve over the line, and he wanted to make sure, which, again, he's just doing his job.
Right.
Because, you know, you see a couple cars swerve a couple times, you better pull them over. And, but yeah, he was super cool to me and everything else. And, but I just remember how wonderful that felt to be able to say, no, I ain't got nothing in my nothing in my system other than back then it was, well, Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, yeah.
Dr. K back then. I couldn't afford Dr. Pepper. I had to buy the Kroger brand. Or whatever grocery store you got.
Right.
Yeah. I can laugh. Just like we had Bill and Gunnar Chote on here last month. Love that podcast. And you know, it's had very few views.
I know.
Probably to date, probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
We had a blast doing that. Yeah, we had a couple beers while we were doing it.
Right.
And just had a blast talking about old stories on motorcycles and trips. I mean, if you listen to this podcast and you didn't listen to last month's with Bill and Gunnar, you really need to go back and take a look at it because we just had so much fun. And if you ride motorcycles, you've had these kind of trips.
Right.
You understand what it's like to be on a trip and it pour down rain. Or get into that hotel that would just, you wouldn't put your worst enemy in because it was so nasty and disgusting. You know, or whatever, you know. Issues getting into Canada. I've heard stories.
We've had a few stories from Canada.
So, I don't know why that one hasn't gotten that many views.
I don't know.
But it was one of my favorites so far. I had a lot of fun because it was just so laid back and we just had a blast just talking about silly stories.
And that was the first episode since I got everything switched over to Spotify. So it is on YouTube. And a lot of what we base our views off is off YouTube because that's the easiest one to actually see the views. But since we are streaming, our streaming platform that we're with is Spotify now. That's the main one.
Gotcha.
And then it spiders out to all the
the
other ones. So I've been trying to work on learning Spotify now to figure out the rankings.
So we can see the actual views and all that. Because that's what I was looking at was YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I just saw on YouTube, it's like, you know, it was like, wow, those views were down. And I forgot all about that. So explain to everybody, how does this work now? We're now on number one for the podcast.
For the podcast, so we were going through a streaming platform called Podcastle. And they were the ones where when you put it on there, it would send it out to all the platforms. Because that Podcastle you can't watch them or listen to them on there. That's just a platform to push it out. And Spotify just redid all their stuff to where now you can use them as the platform for free. So you upload there, and it immediately I've had to go through and link it to all the different to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Technically, I can actually link YouTube too as well, I think, but I don't want to screw things up with YouTube, so I just upload there separately. But it sends it to 20 plus different.
So then that's the biggest difference.
Yes.
Because when you're uploading it, it goes to Spotify, they do all theirs, but because we already have an established YouTube account,
yes,
that one is just strictly just what's being seen on YouTube.
Right.
and not all the other platforms. That makes sense.
Yeah. They're the same thing on both of them. It's just
Right.
I strictly upload it to YouTube by itself. Because I think if I link it to Spotify, I think it might change some stuff with the channel, and I don't want to mess with anything like that.
Yep.
So yeah, with Spotify, it sends it to a lot more than what Podcastle was doing. Maybe I just didn't understand Podcastle that well. I think technically it's more of an Apple product, an iPhone thing, and I'm not very iPhone literate. So
You're an Android, aren't you?
Yes, I'm an Android person. I don't care what you guys say. I am Android all the way, and that's what I started with, so that's what I am. My work phone is an iPhone, and I hate it.
Right. Yeah, it's funny only because, I don't have anything on my phone.
Right.
Sorry, I know I keep hitting this table. I know this probably sounds horrible on that microphone. But went to Walmart the other day, bought some groceries. I bought a few things, so it was only $135.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got out easy.
Like 5 items?
I got out easy. Yeah, 2 bags.
Yeah.
So I go to pay and it won't accept my card.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed I'd been having some issues with my card if I insert it into the machine. If I do the tap and go, works fine. If I do the swipe, works fine. So the machines they had, I had to insert. Wouldn't work, so then I swiped it and it wouldn't pick up then either. And and I was doing self-checkout, so a lady had to come over to help me. So she's trying to figure it out. She can't figure it out. Then she goes, well, here, just come up to this register and I'll just do it all up here. So I go up there and it won't work at that register either. So now she's like, well, do you have the
Apple Pay?
Well, she was asking me if I had the Walmart
yes.
app.
Yeah, if you
Because I
have the
could go
Walmart
through
app, you
that.
can pay through there.
And then I was like, no. She goes, well, where are your apps? I said, I got Snapchat. And that's what she did. And I was like, that's the only app I have on my phone.
Right.
She goes, but I mean, when you go to all your different apps that you have on, I said, I put them up. I said, that's all I got. That's what I have. I was like, my Facebook, I don't even have Facebook on my phone. I don't have any of that stuff on my phone. And so she goes, all right, well, go to your store so you can download the app. I said, where is my store? I don't know. And she's looking through it. Well, she was an Apple person.
Oh,
so she couldn't figure out the Android thing either.
Yeah.
Then they brought another person over. We had to go through the whole story.
Yeah.
Well, where's your app? I've got Snapchat. And that's all I got. And so I went through this whole thing, and they're like, well, go to your store. I don't have a store. And then they're like, no, Play Store. Go to your Google Play Store. I said, all right. So I went there. You have to create an account.
Oh, gosh.
She's like, all right, yeah, that's not going to work. I said, I told you, I have nothing on my phone. And, so, because I'm in there all the time.
Right.
I do most of my own shopping. And so I know the people at Walmart. And, I know a lot of them just know me, because of you. Because all the years you spent at Walmart. But she knows who I am. Doesn't know me personally.
Right.
But she knows me. We talk every time I'm in there. Next thing I know, she just pulls her card out, puts it in there, and pays it. I was like, whoa. Just let me leave the groceries here. I'll go to the bank and get. She goes, here. This way you can just take your groceries home, put them away, put the frozen stuff in your freezer, go to the bank, take care of it. Like, okay. The other girl that was working there, she was looking at her like, are you crazy? And she said, no. She goes, no, I like him. She goes, I know him. She goes, he's in here all the time. I'm not worried about that. I said, well, you're right, because it's only $135, and my only other choice in this little town is Walmart or Kroger, and I freaking hate
Close
Kroger.
to 200 there.
I hate Kroger, so I was like, no, you're gonna have to spend at least $1,000 before I bail out of the store.
That's funny.
So I got it, and I went to the bank, got a new card, went back, paid her in cash. I said, here's $140. She goes, why owe you change? I said, no, you do not. It was $135.66. I said, no. There you go. You're getting that. It's going to be your bonus for being nice. See, that's how illiterate I am when it comes to all this, the new Spotify and this and that. But that makes sense because now I realize it's kind of like on Facebook. When people share our posts,
Yes.
I can look at my insights to see how many people have viewed it.
Yeah.
And if it gets shared to other people, we get the credit for those insights.
Right.
So it's kind of like Spotify.
Uh-huh.
So everywhere else it's being seen on Spotify, there's a whole nother set of numbers compared to what is just on YouTube, because
Yes.
that's going there separately.
Correct.
All right. So do I need to download Spotify on my phone?
I mean, if you want to, it goes to Pandora as well through Spotify. So
I have Pandora.
I know you have
I do
Pandora.
have Pandora.
I know you do.
So I take it back. I have 2 apps. I got Snapchat
And
and
somehow
Pandora.
don't have a Google account.
And I do not have a Google account. So yeah, I don't know how that all works, but
That's funny.
that's why you take care of all that.
Right.
All right, so cool. So we just need to start looking and seeing, because I just knew the number was so far off. I was like,
Yeah.
it's not even close.
Right.
And so that explains all that then. Perfect.
Yeah, that is strictly just the people going to YouTube to view it.
Now, if I know most of these are, I talked too long again. It's wanting to die on me.
I like your little direct flame there on that one.
It's nice, isn't it? Go ahead and get that nice and even.
But yes, on Spotify and YouTube, everything's still video.
Video on
Yes.
Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on any other platform, it should just be audio. Because I don't think Spotify will push the video. It just pushes the audio from it out. So, but there's 2 ways to see the video. To me, that's all we need.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if
and I
you're
know-
listening to a podcast, 9 out of 10 people aren't watching it or listening
Right.
to it. But there is a group of people that like to watch the video.
The old people.
I like to watch the video. I just don't have time to sit and watch the video.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's my whole thing is when I have that day where I get to that evening where I can chill out.
Uh-huh.
I'll throw up a podcast of whatever, whether it's Joe Rogan or.
Right.
Now again, Joe Rogan's podcast, those things will go for 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like,
It takes a few days to listen to his.
yeah. Whereas,
But some of them are amazingly interesting, and it's topics you wouldn't think you would actually be interested in.
right? No, I've absolutely fallen in love with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. I know Cindy, our co-host Cindy, she listens to podcasts all the time when she's working.
Mm-hmm.
She's a little more modern than I am. But for me, I'll sit and watch. What do you think? Is it Tosh?
Uh-huh.
Daniel Tosh has his new podcast now,
Yeah.
and it's just simply called Tosh Show.
Top show.
And his usually run about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's one that I can sit there on the evening, on the rare chance I get to eat dinner.
Uh-huh.
And then, or if we're here at the Steel Horse Lounge, at the Cigar Lounge or whatever, I'll come in and I'll throw on the TV and I'll put that in. Because I can watch 45 minutes.
Right.
3 hours, 3.5 hours, I'm not watching all that. There's no way. And like you said, even when they're interesting,
Yeah.
it's still 3 hours.
Yeah.
Outlaw Josie Wales, probably my absolute favorite movie that's ever been made. Love, to me, Clint Eastwood,
It's a good movie.
as far as westerns go, everybody talks about the good, the bad, the ugly. They talk about Unforgiven.
Right.
And especially Unforgiven, because that came out a couple years after Josie Wales. It was, Josie Wales, I think, came out in '76. I can't remember when Unforgiven came out, but it's like people talk about, Unforgiven, bar none, his best movie. I'm like, dear God, did you ever watch Josie Wales?
Right.
10 times more action,
Yeah.
10 times, what a great storyline. Everything about Josie Wales was fantastic. It's a 3-hour movie, though.
Yeah, it's a long one.
And Unforgiven's a long one as well, but Josie Wales, 3 hours.
Yeah.
My favorite movie of all times. And yet, I got to be in the right mood to sit down and watch
Yeah.
and be able to watch a 3-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
So even a Joe Rogan thing. That's one I'm going to watch maybe an hour.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I love about podcasts. They're around there all the time.
Yes.
So if I want to listen to part of it, I can go right back to it again, and it's already sitting right there at that same spot.
Right.
And I can take right off again with it, and that's what I love about the podcast. I just think I enjoy doing them. We the more guests we bring on. I mean, I enjoy these right here where we get to smoke a cigar.
Right.
But talking with new, different people and talk about other things other than charity rides and
Right.
and motorcycles 100%, to be able to talk about other things. Love doing these cigar reviews. This one right here, like I said, now this is where I would say is probably ending the sweet spot of a cigar.
Yeah.
That perfect part of the burn.
I would agree with that, because that is pretty much right where I stopped mine. It started getting to that where it's getting the nasty finish in it. It's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. See, in this one, I don't find that. And this is one that I will take the band off of it. I don't know if I'm hearing thunder outside or...
I don't know. That one almost sounded like motorcycle. Like that one sounded like pipes racking. Could be a car.
I think you're right. So what else is going on?
Not much. What was that right before I got sick, we went down to Mammoth Cave.
Oh, I forgot about that. You and your beautiful bride, Mary?
Yep, she actually had a Sunday off, so I was like, hey, it's only, 3 hours down to Mammoth Cave?
That's what I was going to ask you. How long did it take?
I think it's about 3 hours.
Okay.
I think. She actually drove down there.
Sweet.
I know. So I drove the way back. But it's getting harder for me to drive at night. The astigmatism that I have, and it's in both of my eyes. It starbursts everything at night, and it's just getting so hard to drive now at night. And so she drove, since it was later, she drove down there, and I remember going to Mammoth Cave when I was really young. So it's been a long time since I've been there. That's why I kept saying to her, I was like, look, I'm telling you what I remember. Like, we're talking like close to 30 years ago.
Probably about 30 years.
I was like, nothing's going to be the same. I was like, other than like going into the cave and seeing a few things, I might remember some stuff. I said, I guarantee you it's completely different. I mean, it is to the point, they've got so many different tours because they've now explored so much more of the cave system that you have to order your tours online ahead of time. Because it's so busy that if you get there, they will probably not have any tours available.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Still in North America, it is in the top 5 for top destinations worldwide. Or not worldwide, in North America. It's in the top 5. That's including Canada and Mexico.
Really?
It's in the top 5 for busiest destinations.
Wow. How weird is that? I never would have
right
thought that.
in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky.
Yeah,
because it's literally in the middle of nowhere. So, like, they got a hotel now on site with 2 restaurants, big gift store, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
So then you have this massive building where you go in, like, to get your tickets, information booth. Again, like 2 small gift stores there, a little museum tour to go through that explains how the caves were built and shows you the landscape. And they had meeting points for the tours, so you have to know where your meeting point is. Now, I remember when I was little, we would go through the original entrance. So you go and you got to walk down the stairs and you go into the historic, that's what they call it now, is the historic entrance. Yeah, it was just the entrance when I came here.
It's kind of like today's classic rock. It's like, it was just rock and roll when I was listening to it.
So you could go in there and that tour was free. And I don't know if that was special because it was a special day for certain things to be free. So we got to walk down in there because we got there early. I'm like, there's all kinds of trails and stuff we could walk around. Our tour wasn't until like 1 in the afternoon. And it was a 2-hour tour.
Because then it wasn't a 3-hour, you may not have came back.
They have some tours as long as 12 hours.
Really?
I'm like, I don't know if I could do 12 hours in a cave. Now, I mean, they had some tours walking through where it's the ones that are actually crawling, like they give them like actual gear and everything. You're going through water and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. When I was a kid, that was cool. Now, I don't know if I'm so sure about this.
Give me a sidewalk to walk along through here.
So the tour we did is actually one of their moderate tours. Like, it's not handicap accessible. Like, there's over 700 stairs.
Wow.
Or steps, stairs, whatever.
Right.
Like, not counting just normal walking, actual steps. There's over 700.
Wow.
Yeah. And some extremely tight spaces. Right at the very beginning, because you're going, like, the first set of stairs is like 300 feet straight down. I mean, it's just never ending. Like, you're going to hell.
Right.
Like, it's like, at some point, the Earth's going to get hotter as we keep going.
You see a fellow with a pitchfork, you let me know.
But that was her first time ever going in a cave, like a real cave.
Huh.
And we walked through, I think, Wolf Cave, like at McCormick's Creek State Park.
Right.
Which most of that is now collapsed. It's not, most of the cave's not even there anymore. But that one, I mean, you walk in, you can actually see light at the end of the tunnel because it's so short now. Where this one, you're going into a cave. And she really liked it to the point it's like she wants to go to all the ones in southern Indiana.
That's cool.
But it was really cool getting to go down there and we stayed a night at a hotel. That way we could get to the park early in the morning and we walked.
So you guys drove down on
12
Saturday night, then you drove down Saturday evening or whatever after work, and then stayed the night, and then did your excursion on Sunday.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was really cool. And again, I mean, if you're watching this and you're in the central Indiana area, it's a relatively cheap getaway. You're only going to use a tank of gas in your car.
Right.
I mean, unless you got a really big truck or something. We have a Nissan Pathfinder, and we filled up before we left. We drove down and drove back. So
it was a one-tank trip. Motorcycle. You're gonna probably make it down there on a tank and probably back on another tank.
Yeah. And if you stay right around Cave City, Horse Cave, there's some cheap hotels. You might get some interesting stories from those cheap hotels. We went a little further down to Glasgow, Kentucky, and stayed at a Holiday Inn. So they had a nice breakfast and everything in the morning. But I do have to say, Glasgow, Kentucky has the best Highland games in America. Apparently, it's a very Scottish town. And so every year,
Glasgow makes sense.
They hold the annual Highland Festival and do the Highland Games right there in Kentucky.
I'll be.
And it's the largest Highland Games in America. I don't know about North America, but in the U.S.
Right.
In the U.S., it's the largest games. I was like, I almost want to go see this.
Right. So, I'm trying to think, because we went down to Frankfurt, which is I-74 between Louisville and Lexington. You're only about a half hour away from Lexington, so basically around Lexington. Glasgow, obviously a little farther south. But I was going to say Frankfurt's only about a 3-hour drive.
Right.
So you're going another 3 hours, about the same distance. And I've been saying forever now, since we've been back, it's like, man, I want to take another trip on the bike.
Right.
Because again, you're in Kentucky, so you're going to have the Bourbon Trail.
Yes.
I am sure there was some places down there by Glasgow.
Yeah, there
would have to be some
signs
down that way. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that'll be one of the next excursions we do for Steel Horse Thunder. Maybe hit some of the southern Indiana, because you have Wyandotte Woods has a cave in it. Spring Mill has a cave, a boat tour cave that you can go in.
You got the
Marengo
Cave. That's a big one. Which cave was it that people would throw pennies up on the ceiling?
Which one was it?
I don't remember which one that was.
I don't know, because we enjoyed caves back in the day.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Marengo. It could have been Marengo, or it could have been even down at Squire Boone, down in Corydon, Indiana.
Yeah.
Which is all the way down by the river.
Yeah. I know you got the Blue River Caverns down in southern Indiana as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, Blue River Caverns. There's a bunch of them down there, though.
There is quite a few. And then, like you said, even into Kentucky. I mean, that might be something fun to do on the motorcycles, you know? Take off on a Friday evening and just go down to, I think, Marengo Cave from, like where we're at here in Martinsville. You go down to Marengo Cave, it's going to take you about an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think it's the sign just north or just south of Bloomington says 60 miles.
Right.
Marengo Cave.
Yeah, 60-ish.
Something like that.
60-ish miles from there. So yeah, you're only talking a good hour and a half.
Right.
On a motorcycle, it's fantastic. Even if you hop on I-69 to Bloomington, then you're hopping on State Road 37 from there on out, which is a nice ride. There's so many back roads you can take to get down to Marengo. You know, because once you get to Paoli, Indiana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 37 changes. It's just a 2-lane road.
Right.
It's beautiful riding down that way. Gosh, that may have to be something we need to do. And just, even if we go to Marengo, go down to Wyandotte Woods, or go down to Squire Boone, because they have the little village there and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love that stuff. I'm afraid to go now because as I've gotten older and gotten fatter.
Claustrophobic.
I don't do so
You'd be fine with the historic entrance of Mammoth Cave.
Yeah.
Most of Mammoth Cave you'd be fine with. I mean, that's the reason why it's called Mammoth Cave. It is humongous in size.
No, it's pretty cool, man. I forgot that you guys had gone down there because you have been sick ever since. So
yeah.
Maybe you got something in the cave.
I've wondered. I told her, I was like, you never know. I could have caught something while we were in the cave.
Did you eat salamanders or anything while you were down there? Bats?
No. I mean, they got a big issue with a fungus in the caves that is killing the bats.
Oh, is that right?
They've lost 90% of the bat population at Mammoth Cave in the last 3 years.
Can't even imagine what the mosquitoes must be like around there now. I mean, the bats eat
That's all they eat. Yeah.
I mean,
there weren't any mosquitoes when we were walking around.
No?
No. But yeah, there's a big issue with what it's called white nose disease or white nose syndrome. White nose syndrome.
I had a problem with that back in the 70s and 80s.
But yeah, it's killing all the bats.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Good thing they don't have cloud trails down there. That probably cause some problems as well.
Right.
Poor bats. Huh. That might be something we need to do. Do a little cave run. You know, I know places like, Wyandotte Woods, you got camping right there.
Yeah.
Marengo Cave has camping on their property.
Spring Mill, they have cabins, I think, actually. They have
right
tent camping as well, but I think Spring Mill has cabins. I guess Mammoth Cave, they have all kinds of cabins and stuff you can rent too as well. On top with the hotel there, and they have the old lodge that's in the park still.
Now, is that a state park or is that a national?
Mammoth Cave is a national park, but there's no entrance fee. So when you drive in, there's you just see a sign, "Welcome to Mammoth Cave National Park." And I'm assuming it's because they make so much off of ticket sales for the caves that They don't have to have an
Kind of the way it
entrance.
should be anyway.
Right.
I like that. So now, like state parks here in Indiana, I used to buy, every year I'd buy a year pass. And get you in any state park you want. Back then I used to go travel all the time.
Yeah.
Anymore, we don't get a chance to do a whole lot of that anymore, so I stopped doing that. But I always enjoyed the caves. Like I said, I don't know how I would feel now. You know, like flying.
Yeah.
You know, I only fly when I absolutely have to.
know.
I don't like getting on a plane and everybody's like, oh, it's safer than this. Like, it's got nothing to do with safety. You know, that's the last thing I've ever worried about on a plane is crashing.
Yeah. I worry about it every minute.
I'm going to be gone like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dying doesn't scare me. Slow, agonizing death sounds horrible. But slamming into the side of a mountain and just going, poof, I'm gone. That I'm not worried about. Drop me, you know, whatever, I don't know how high you fly. I was going to say, drop me from 3,000 feet. I don't really care. I'm not going to strap me in, whatever, unstrap me. I don't care. If I'm dropping 3,000 feet, unless I jump at the right time, I'm not going to make it. You ever wonder about that? I always thought about that in the elevator. I always thought about that when I'm in an elevator. You know, you go to some of the bigger cities, you know, you go to New York and
They
stuff.
got
And
the fast elevators.
you're on the elevators, you know, you're up, whatever, 80 stories high,
Right.
100 stories high. Well, that thing snaps and you're flying all the way to the ground. I always wondered if you knew when to jump, technically, would you survive it? It's right before you hit, you jump up in the ground. It's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Coming from that far, I don't think there's enough room in the elevator to get high
Right.
enough. But I've always wondered that. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, all you gotta do is jump before you hit the ground, and you'll be fine.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't want to find out either.
No?
No, elevators scare the crap out of me. I get on a plane a little better than some of the super high elevators.
I just don't like the planes because of the claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I don't like the you get in there and they close that door.
Yeah.
And now, okay, if I lose my shit, I'm stuck here.
Right.
I can't go nuts. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like I can't demand pull over, let me out of this car.
Right.
I don't have that option.
No.
You're stuck. You're in there for the duration. There's nothing you can do about it. And I feel like I'm breathing everybody else's carbon monoxide. They're breathing out, and it's like I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Well, they do have really, really good filters on those planes.
Yeah.
Only because I got to
You used to build planes.
I got to help install one once.
Is that why you get scared on planes? Because you built them? You see how cheaply made?
They're not cheaply made.
Not cheaply, no.
No. And I mean, as long as the upkeep is done on them and they're doing it properly, where you're actually having inspectors check all the work. Because literally, when you say there's a rivet that needs to be fixed on a plane, you fix that rivet, there's a tag for that piece with the serial number. You have to sign that you fixed it. It has to be inspected. The inspector has to sign, and then it has to be logged.
Okay.
So if that rivet was to fail, cause an accident, whoever it was that actually fixed it and the inspector that signed off on it could potentially serve prison time.
Wow.
It's serious.
So is it normal then for a plane that's made out of a lighter weight material and everything else? Obviously, it's got to fly through the air.
Right.
So you're not using, thick steel
No.
panels and stuff. So is it normal then for, say, just hypothetically, one of those? Never mind. I'm not even going to get into it. Never mind.
But when you have to take the walls off from the inside, you already feel like you're right on the edge when you're sitting at the window. When you take the wall off from the inside and you realize it's literally the outside wall right behind it, it'll scare you a little bit when you're flying.
Yeah. So I can see where it could just tear up a steel girder building.
Yeah.
So anyway,
How's that cigar?
what about trains?
I want to do a train ride. Not necessarily across the entire country.
I kind of would.
But like they've got some like that start in Colorado, and you go through the old railroad lines, like through the mountains and stuff. So you start like in Colorado, and then it ends in like Montana or Idaho, stuff like that. It's like a 3-day. So you have to. It seems really cheap. So you realize you have to actually rent a bed car.
Right.
So it's like, oh, it's like $10 a day. Because that's your seat. But if you don't want to sleep in that seat and you want to have a bed, then you got to actually rent a bed car. That's where your prices go up.
And then if you're going to rent a bed car, do you really want that little tiny one that you can barely move in? Or do you want to get one that's a little bit more...
Right.
Yeah.
But it just looks really cool when you see the videos of it. And it's like you're going where they don't even have highways through that area. Like you're literally going, and you're the only thing out there that's mechanical. That's just nature.
Yeah.
And to me, that would be really cool.
I think it would be fun. As much as I love doing motorcycle rides, you know, I want to be able to ride through all those mountains, and I have never been out west, that far, on the motorcycle. And I would love to do that. But I've just always thought there's just something about a train that I just think it would be a blast where you do have your own bed car and all that kind of stuff. So where you can go to sleep when you want to sleep, you can get away from everybody else when you want to, or you can go out to the one of the cars that has the food and the alcohol and have a few drinks, and I wonder if they have any that have cigar cars, where you can sit in one of the cars, or even an outer deck where you can go sit.
I would assume they have.
Because to me, that would be a blast. Smoke a cigar and have a good whiskey, and smoke a cigar while you're on a train. And I guess for me, now that I'm older, like motorcycle riding, I love hitting these roads on motorcycles. But let's face it, you get on some of these mountain roads, even if you stay over on the East Coast and you're going through the Smokies or the Blue Ridge or you go up north to the Adirondacks and the Catskills even. They're not even that big. But you got to really pay attention when you're on a motorcycle. You don't really see a whole lot of that spectacular scenery because you got to pay attention to what you're doing. And I think for me, that's what I like about the car. Or the train.
The train,
you get your own car, and you can sit out there with everybody, or you can sit in your own place, look out the window, and you can watch all that stuff, and not have to do any of the driving. To me, that would be kind of fun too.
Yeah,
I would enjoy that. I wouldn't mind. Well, I'd say you could ride the motorcycles out to Colorado, but from Martinsville, Indiana to Colorado kind of sucks. I rode that a bunch.
Yes,
it was not that much fun. There's not a whole lot to see. So yeah, if I rode all the way out to Colorado, the last thing we're going to do is get off the bike, hop on a train. I'm going to have to do some riding once I get there.
Yeah,
if you can do an overnighter,
I'd fly to Denver.
Yeah, right. Exactly. See, and that's something for me. I know I missed a trip out to Vegas for that very reason. It was just one of those things where it's like, I just don't know. I just don't know. I regret that one. I do regret that one. I know you guys had a blast out there.
It was a fun trip.
And I know Cindy got to go on that one, and it's like, I kind of wish I would have done that one. I just suck it up and go. I know when we flew out to Seattle, that was the one that just kind of broke me.
That's a rough one.
It was like, well, we were on Frontier Airlines.
Oh, yeah.
Dear God, do you know why they're called Frontier Airlines?
Because they're still in the front. It's a wagon.
They took the seat out of that the guy sits on the wagon, and that's what you're sitting on the way out there. It's like, dear God, throw a little cushion on this plywood, will you?
Yeah, I only fly Southwest.
Pioneer or Frontier. What's Pioneer?
We need to have an airline. Pioneer Airlines.
Pioneer Airline. Got the square wheels. But yeah, that Frontier Airline, it was like, yikes, man. And I'm not saying anything bad about them at all.
They have a good track record, unlike some other airlines. It's just, they have some really cheap seats.
It's just not comfortable.
No.
There's nothing comfortable about them. My ears don't work well
Yeah.
up there. The popping, a lot of times they won't, and then they just build so much, and I feel like my eardrums are going to explode.
Yeah.
And my mom actually had that. Her eardrum ruptured while she was flying, and I remember her saying it's the worst pain she's ever had.
I bet.
And there's been a couple flights where I honestly thought that's what was going to happen, and it hurt bad. I was praying for an accident.
Yeah.
I was like, just put the brakes on right now. Just hit the brakes. Let's just end it right here. If you do me a favor, get close to the Grand Canyon, then hit the brakes and let's just drop. I don't care. I've always said that, you know, none of my motorcycle trips ever include the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I always say I'm going to Thelma and Louise that thing. If I feel like I'm losing my mind and I'm getting ready to go, I'm hopping on Stormy, and me and Stormy are riding out to the Grand Canyon. And when I get there, I am not stopping. I'll go, yeah, it's pretty. That'll be the last words out of my mouth. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a grand old canyon, all right. Well, so did you enjoy your cigar?
I did. That was really good. I'm definitely going to have to buy some more of those.
And again, what was that you're smoking?
That was the Tatiana Mocha Caramel.
Mocha Caramel.
Caramely Mocha.
Caramel.
I'm pretty sure it was caramel. Oh my gosh. And there's no alcohol in that.
I know, right?
I could have swore when I looked online it was Caramely Mocha, but I don't know. When you buy it, it just says Mocha on the band.
Okay.
So.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I do. It's like I said, it's a really smooth cigar. It's not rough at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the first 2/3, that chocolate and mocha coffee flavor stays nice and strong. Doesn't. Of course, I'm one. You know, when I get to that point, it generally the cigars I get generally start getting a bad finish by that point.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's bad.
No, because more than likely, I mean, just about every other cigar I smoke, that's
Right.
about where I get.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
You spend money, you spend a lot of money on cigars. Aren't cheap. Even
No.
the cheap cigars aren't that cheap.
Right.
And to me, I'm not going to smoke it past the point that I enjoy it.
Right.
You light up a cigar and it tastes so good, and then you get down to that final third and it starts getting a little hot. The
Yeah.
smoke, you know, when you breathe the smoke in, it's just a hotter feeling, and you have that nasty long finish at the end. Why keep smoking it?
Right.
It ruins the whole experience of the
Yes.
cigar. So if I can smoke 2/3 of it and put the last third and just set that last third in the ashtray, I started smoking Churchill cigars because most of those are 7-inch cigars.
Right.
For that very reason.
Yeah.
Because like, well, I know I'm not going to smoke the last 2 to 3 inches of that cigar. I'm probably not going to smoke it. So get a 7-inch cigar. That way you're smoking. You got a lot more to smoke before you finally get to that point of going, yeah, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I am. I was smoking a lot of that's what the Rocky Patel here that you got here. I smoke a lot of those Monte Cristos, the yellow label, but I get the Churchills and those as well.
Right.
And it's a very light, mild cigar. Now again, it's more Dominican, so it's got more of an earthy kind of taste to it. And I know these are kind of supposed to be an earthy one, but I don't get it so much out of these CAOs. But yeah, I'll smoke one of those longer ones, and then that way, when I do throw it away, yeah, I'm still going to have more than that probably when I'm done.
Right.
But it was a longer cigar anyway, so yeah, I think that kind of works out. Because the last thing I want to do is keep puffing on a cigar, so when I finally put it out, it's like,
Right.
I'm glad this thing's over with. You know, I don't ever want it to be like that. I like to smoke the ones that I like down to a nub that I'm going, oh God, I wish it was just a little bit more.
Right.
Then I don't mind smoking them down there.
Yeah.
All right, so again, if everybody wants to watch video on these podcasts, Spotify and YouTube have the video.
Correct.
And then if you're just listening to a podcast, you can get them on any of the...
Pretty much any other platform you go to. It's there.
All right, and then the next podcast we've been doing about 2 a month.
Yep.
We try to do them about every other week.
This one was delayed because of my sickness.
All right. So the next one's going to be Anthony Rosano and the Conquerors.
Correct.
And that's the way I always describe them. If you like blues and you like your blues rocking and you like to add about 4 fingers of funk, you got Anthony Rosano and the Conquerors. I mean, when we saw them in concert in Frankfurt, they put on about a 3-hour show.
Wow.
They played a long time. And they'll play all their own music, but then they'll do covers from the Rolling Stones. They did a cover from Black Sabbath. They did a cover from Prince.
Jeez.
They did a cover from, I always say The Faces, but I'm Losing You is the name of the song, and I think it was actually the Temptations actually put it out first.
Really?
It really took off with The Faces when Rod Stewart and Ron Wood had The Faces before Ron Wood went to the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
And then Rare Earth, another great old band, they did a version of it that was really good. Anthony Rosano and the Conquerors, they do a version of that. So, I mean, they have their own music, which is very bluesy and very funky.
Yes.
But then they'll do all these other songs that you're going to be very familiar with.
Right.
Just a really, really good band. Super cool dudes, man. So, I'm really excited for that one to air. That one's going to be really fun. It was so much fun talking to him, so much fun doing that one on location in a Muscat's music station. Just a super cool vibe. The whole thing of it was great. So yeah, and hopefully what we'll do is we'll be able to get down to where Bubba's at, do one with him. Hopefully I can sweet talk Tab and Waz manager into letting us do one with Tab in October when we see him at the Vogue. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for getting us into the podcast business.
No problem.
I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a lot of fun.
It takes a while to get them rolling. I understand that. I didn't expect us to take off and say, "Oh, look, we're comparing numbers with Joe Rogan."
You're right.
I don't ever expect us to get to that point.
Yeah.
We might. I'm not going to say we can't.
Right.
I'm just saying, if I'm doing a fraction of what he's doing, I'm pretty thrilled.
Yes.
So, all right, man. Why don't we call it a night?
Yeah.
And Cameraman Wes, glad you're healthy again. Glad you're back with us.
Me too.
And I guess we will see you on the next podcast.
Yeah. Guys, check out Badass Beard Care. American made, veteran owned. The best beard oil I've ever used. So make sure you check them out.
And if you're local here in Indiana, central Indiana, don't forget about Ladendorf Law. Ladendorf, Fregiato, and Bigler, the Bigler and Badler than ever, personal injury lawyer. We got Krambo's, which is custom paint, Harley mechanics, and accessories. And then we also have Roy Rogers Heating and Air right here in central Indiana.
Yep.
So, ton of fun, man.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. I'll see you the next time.
All right.